Welcome back to another year of Prep Sports Now. I'm Case Kiefer, joined by the Southern Nevada High School Football Authority, Ray Brewer. Excited to break down some of the teams and the outlook for this year in high school football. Probably the same on top. We're going to try to go through a little bit of all the leagues today, but of course, starting in the 5A, where Bishop Gorman's going for, what is it at this point, like their 14th title in 15 years, Ray?
Absolutely. Gorman is not only the team to beat here in Nevada, they are ranked second nationally by Max Preps, number one by Football America, and will be in contention for that mythical national championship. CK, before we get started, a real cool addition this year. Shout out to the A's and Las Vegas Aviators for sponsoring our podcast. I love Las Vegas Ballpark, and I'm just so happy that they find a value in prep sports. They were there for our Sun Standout Awards, and thank you, Chuck, and everybody over at the Aviators, and A's coming to town in a few years. So shout out to them for giving us we haven't had a sponsor since that chicken place a few years ago. So
yeah, not in mid-season form. I could pass it off that I was going to do this in the middle, but I just forgot to say it outright. So what I wanted to say was this Prep Sports Now episode is brought to you by the Athletics and the Las Vegas Aviators. Pretty exciting stuff to have them on board. And you know who else I hope, or I guess I should change that. You know who I hope isn't rough to start the year and needs to be in midseason form right away? I know we're starting at the top, but Bishop Gorman, right? You mentioned wanting to win that national championship. There's no margin for error because I know the state schedule means things to them and they want to win another state championship, but to get that national championship, the most important games are here right at the front, right? They got to beat these out-of-state competition, and I believe it gets started, just a week or 10 days from now.
Yeah, so Gorman opens against Kahuku of Hawaii. They also play at St. Thomas Aquinas in Florida on a Saturday when it's going to be really hot out, 1 p.m. I don't know if it's 1 p.m. or 4 p.m. I don't know the time switch, but it's in the middle of the afternoon. And then the game of all games, September 6th at Mater Dei, right? Let's let the big dogs eat. And then they host Orange Lutheran, and then the next week they get a week off, and then they get Liberty. So the Gales have an opportunity to repeat. Last year, Case, when they won the national championship, they beat Liberty at Allegiant Stadium for state, and Coach Browner was like, we just beat a national power in Liberty. And he raved about Coach Morocco and the Patriots program, which of course beat them in 2019. And in my head, I'm like, either A, he's trying to impress the voters to get the national championship, or B, he's really sincere about how great Liberty is. And I kind of think that he is sincere. I think Liberty, which is ranked, 129th nationally to open the season, not bad, 13,000 high school football teams. Granted, there's a drop, a gigantic drop, and that's being kind.
Yeah, it's great. It is unbelievable. All respect to what Coach Morocco has built there, but at the same time, that's not winning you a national championship.
Correct.
Beating number 129.
Correct. But here's my thing. How many state titles would have Liberty won if Gorman wasn't Gorman? If Gorman was the Dave White Gormans, right, the Marco Murray couldn't win state here, how many would Liberty have?
I'd say probably half of them.
Half of them, yeah.
You think that's that? Wow, we actually agree.
No, I would agree.
On the first thing you throw up for debate, we're on the same. We're on the same wavelength. I mean, they probably would have had the best team more times than that, but upsets are when teams are that closely matched. Upsets are part of it. They probably get knocked off a year or two.
Arborview's had some good teams. Desert Pines, who everybody says I like more than I need to, has had some good teams. But what makes Gorman so good this year, I'll tell you what everybody says, is they've got a SEC offensive line. And if you look at their offensive line, right, they've got one guy going to Miami, another guy going to Oregon, another guy going to Tennessee, and they've got one more, they've got a linebacker going to Stanford, right? And that doesn't include Jet Washington, who I think is their best player, the safety who's a junior, Prince Williams, who's also a junior, who had like 100 tackles last year, and Derek Meadows, who's going to LSU, right? And he chose between Michigan, Notre Dame, and LSU. So Gorman has got a stacked roster, right? 20-some kids with Division I offers, the high-end players, this great offensive line where you could just run the rock when you need to. I worry that the first-time starting quarterback, Melvin Spicer, the fourth, how is he going to be under center, right? Micah Halahado, National Player of the Year. He's graduated. To Gorman's credit, they have played the backup, and this goes all the way back to when the Sanchezers were there. They would find series when the game still mattered to put the backup in, whether it was DTR when Martell was the quarterback or last year when Alejado was the quarterback. So it's not like this is a bum off the streets, right? It's a guy who could sling the ball around, but just a tough. If they go 4-0 against the national opponents, I think there's zero doubt about them being number one in the nation. August 24th, St. Thomas Aquinas, great Florida program. The humidity, I didn't realize the humidity, CK, until I went to Florida this year. It is painful, dude.
I mean, that game really stands out to me. I'm not going to pretend to know all that St. Thomas Aquinas has this year, but a traditional power, right? I know that area extremely well, right by where my mom's live. My mom's husband actually here, his son went to St. Thomas Aquinas.
Oh, did he really?
So, just for his freshman year. Then I think he went to a different school, but he did go there for 1 year. So that game to me, like, I know everyone wants to see the Mater Dei game. That was the one that there was a buzz about at our high school football media day, but I don't know. Don't sleep on this St. Thomas Aquinas. At St. Thomas Aquinas, like you mentioned, it is a different climate. That's a tough one to me.
And the travel.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Time zones over, the humidity, being on the road, just a big spot, obviously big target on your back. And I would the cool thing with the way the schedule sets off is either A, you win that game, you're undefeated, you get Mater Dei, and you're all of a sudden the high school football game becomes a national type of thing, right? All eyes are on it. But if you lose that game, which I think they're probably an underdog, then you get a chance for redemption against Mater Dei. So it's a good spot for Gorman. Let me tell you, dude, 20-some years, almost 30 years of covering preps. One of the coolest things for me was when Kahuku, who Gorman opens with on Friday, they played in the Poly Classic at Gorman. Not against Gorman, but it was at Gorman. And if you go on my Instagram, I have video of it. I have never seen a high school football crowd this wild and energetic and flags and roasting pigs in the parking lot. And I think they have no chance to beat Gorman because we're talking going from Hawaii to Vegas. The travel is tough. You see it in college, right? Not to mention the heat. But the environment at Gorman, they started selling tickets on Monday for this thing, sold out. Place to be. So that's going to be a fun game.
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree with you. I think they get past that one. I feeling a little validated that you said they might be an underdog at St. Thomas Aquinas. I guess definitely don't gloss over that one then. That should be fun. I know we spent a lot of time on Gorman, but they are number one. That's who everyone is gunning after. Quickly before we move on to the next league, the teams coming after them in the Class 5A Division I, Arborview, Basic, Coronado, Foothill, Desert Pines, and we talked a little bit about Liberty. What stands out among the rest of the teams in the top tier?
Okay, so I promise this year I'm not going to go all in hatred on the NIAA in August. The new director over the NIAA, guy that was on our Sun Standout Award committee, I like him.
I feel like I've always been more, this is just the same thing, and I'm getting back to it, but it's just a thankless position. There's no way I don't think there's any possible way to fix this and make it fair. So.
Correct. But Tim Jackson, great guy. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to let him see his vision through. He's inherited this. Here's why I hate realignment. Okay, Foothill had this great season last year, graduated a ton of people, They were so good last year, they're up. Basic snuck out, won the league. They're up. Sacrificial lambs, in my opinion. Meanwhile, like a Green Valley who ended up in the state semis stays down. They're basically one of the same. Either way, love Arborview. Arborview's got a ton of talent, CK. They've got, of course, the Thatcher brothers, right? Christian committed to Utah, trying to become the state's all-time leading tackler. Thaddeus got a ton of offers, passed for 1,000 yards last year, hurt the collarbone 6 games in, right? Jaden Williams, a real deal, safety wide receiver. Zach Ferris, great tight end. Brian Townsend, the defensive end. Daniel Boyd, offensive line, Fresno State commit. They got some Jimmies and Joes. Now, do they have enough Jimmies and Joes to beat Gorman? Not sure. If they beat Liberty, which they haven't done, that would be a parade.
Is that the game of the year? I know we used to come in here and say we couldn't wait till Liberty Gorman, but I think and even though Liberty did eventually get them, I feel like now, if we're being realistic, there's such a small chance of them winning. Do you think is Liberty Arborview the number one game of the year?
I think that's the game of the game. And let me tell you, Liberty has got 2 Oregon State commits, right? Sean Craig, the defensive back, the linebacker Jeremiah Ione, right? Up front, I can't say the first name. Elia Longo, the defensive lineman.
Elijah? Oh, that's a different kid.
Elia Longo.
Okay.
Love that kid.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, Elijah Espinoza, who was the Vegas quarterback 2 years ago that I was in love with, is now the quarterback at Liberty. So Liberty's got a ton of pieces. They got that great schedule, right? Sky Ridge, Utah, Milani, Hawaii, coming down, going into Cali for Mission Viejo. Liberty's going to be ready. For me, I can't figure out why Arborview can't get past Liberty. And we'll see what happens.
I mean, Arborview, they've been through a lot of transformation the last few years. They're on probably their 3rd coach of the last 5 years. Does it have something to do with just the program stability? And I mean, year after year,
I just think that Liberty A has been that good, and I just think B, Desert Pines and Arborview have had a lot of talented players, and they just can't get over the ledge against Liberty. Speaking of DP, CK, this might be their open. I hate to say this. They lost a ton of kids. First of all, Tico Rodriguez is retired. New coach, great guy, love him. They lost a lot. Quarterback transferred to Hawaii. Sierra Canyon's taken a bunch of their kids, including their best 2 wideouts. They got 48 freshmen. They're going to start a freshman quarterback. They've got some guys with some talent, right? Malik McMillan, the defensive back, very quick. Gabe Goff, who's an offensive lineman, who's 4-year starter, very smart. Super impressed with him at Media Day. It's just, when you think of Desert Pines, homie, you think of Jimmy's and Joe's running around real quick, right?
And that might not be the case this year?
Well, I just think Jimmy and Joe might be 14 years old and a 9th grader.
And if I never hear the term Jimmy and Joe again, I can be happy from the amount of times you said it. Okay, so just before we sign off on this, so is it, can you not pencil Desert Pines into the number 4 in the class then?
I mean, I've got them rated 4 in our preseason top 10 coming out Monday. But I'd like to think that Coronado with J.J. Buchanan going to Utah, safety, does everything. Might be better. Of course, the quarterback for Gorman, Aiden Cross, going to Georgetown. Didn't your friend go to Georgetown?
My best friend in high school played football at Georgetown.
Tom,
wow.
Nice, yeah. So going to Georgetown, great academic school. Foothill and Basic are going to struggle. Next league as we roll. Who you look at these teams, you saw them all come through Media Day. Who's the team to beat? This is the best.
I'm not looking at your rankings. You're putting me on the spot.
This is the best, most competitive league in the state. And Minogue had a ton of scandals in the North. They're going to be not as great.
Well, I've always been biased towards this team, and we've had our battles over the years because you haven't always been the highest on them. But I gotta say, from remembering doing some of these interviews, I think in Faith Lutheran will be tough. Green Valley's always tough, but Palo Verde kind of sold me this year. They have some dudes, right? They're up there, aren't they?
They do have dudes, and they're in the top 10. And Sam Lamb, our events person, I'm going to tell her that you're on Team Panther.
Am I crazy? Maybe they were just
No.
good talkers and convinced me, but out of these teams I talked to, I think Faith Lutheran and Palo Verde stand above the rest. Now, there's a chance that you did some of the other interviews. Like, I don't remember Green Valley at all. I know Legacy won the state championship on the lower level, but to me, of the teams I talked to, Palo and Faith Lutheran sold me the best.
Okay, so Palo has got a lot of our friends on staff, too, by the way. Coach Ovens, big fan of the show,
yeah.
right? Shout out to him. Ice is on staff over there. Shout out to him. Alex Green, defender, going to San Diego State, almost 100 tackles last year. DeAnthony Thompson, good defender. Nathan Kosa. I don't know how they're going to score. That's my worry. I just don't know how Palo's going to score. Faith, of course, has got Faith, which didn't make our top 10. The Cade Breslin.
Oh, wow, so I'm way off, apparently.
No, but they got a great running back in Cade Breslin, who's going to BYU. And not much after that. I can't believe you would just ignore Shadow.
I'm giving them more fuel. I
just-
must not have done their interview either. Did I do theirs?
I don't know.
I'm going. This is a disclaimer. This is no. I'm not trying to make it out any enemies here. I feel like Shadow and Green Valley both. I must not have done their press conference.
They beat Arbor and DP last year.
Yeah, they've had a pretty and they've been really good. What, 4 or 5 years now?
Yeah, and I swear to you, Diego Madrid is a fifth year senior.
I was thinking that when you said Christian Thatcher. I feel like he was here when we started the show in 2009.
Yeah, they've been around for so long. So I worry about what I worry about Shadow is first time starting quarterback Ula Cox, right? Is he going to be able to do the redirection like they up to their level? I tell you what, though, solid offensive line. Jamarian Winston, Gerald Rock. Doesn't that sound like an offensive lineman? And Jacob Dosh, Trevin Young. I'm telling you what, Shadow's going to run the ball. I got them winning state. You didn't even mention them. I just
Again, I cede to you. If they're the team to beat, they're the team to beat. You tell me.
In my opinion.
Is Palo and Faith, was I right? Are they kind of in the second
Palo
tier, or is
Faith,
Green Valley
no,
in
Palo's
between them?
top. Palo's 8th in our poll. Faith, again, could run the rock. Mike Sanford, former college coach, we'd like to think he knows what he's doing on game day. And, again, just a ton of parity. I love the new Green Valley coach, a veteran guy. And how can we not mention the Legacy Longhorns, right?
I did mention them for the record. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't quite give them as big a slap in the face as I gave to Shadow Ridge.
Okay, well, first of all, I've raved about that coaching staff for years. They won first state championship for a North Las Vegas school, right? And they return everybody. Donna McOliver, D1 kid, 786 receiving yards last year. Quarterback is back, Aiden Crawford, almost 2,300 yards, 22 touchdowns. Jaden Bridgewater, Caden Bridgewater, Tyrell Holloway. All these kids played every down when you win a state. They're elevated to the next league. They beat Palo twice last year. So theoretically, in my math, they could beat Faith. Legacy might be the 2 seed over there, CK.
So we've talked about 5 of these teams so far. Is it safe to say could any 5 of those win the state championship and you wouldn't be surprised, or is it some parity but not that much parity?
I don't know. You're kind of putting me on the spot. I don't know. I don't want to I don't know how Green Valley is going to look and feel. I know they got Trey Glasper, who's probably going to be the best player in the classification, right? Mm-hmm. I know that Faith has got a D1 running back.
I feel like you're short selling Faith because I just looked it up to make sure, but they won the South last year. They lost in the state championship, but still,
There was a ton of parity though last year.
Okay,
a ton of parity. If you look at some of the results, like Basic beat Green Valley, Faith beat Basic. Foothill scored a bunch of points, couldn't stop anybody, kind of left a lot of meat on the bone. Again, the only team in this whole I don't know how Coach Barilla is going to be at Silverado. And Sierra Vista, to me, is a clear last in that league.
Ooh, all right. Well, yeah, I was going to ask you about Silverado, so they're probably in the mix. We'll see. So much parity. Maybe one of these bottom teams comes up and gets them. I know, at least for me, talking through it, I feel like any of these 5 teams have a shot. But I'm going to go with Palo Verde because why not? Said we got a lot of friends over there.
And I'm going to go with Shadow. And if I'm wrong, I had Shadow 3 years ago when Silverado started its run. And we could have never predicted how good that Silverado team was going to be. They'd like to think they could have beat Liberty that year, which, of course, Liberty's kind of the benchmark, right?
Right.
Okay.
So is there a Southern, like, will they play another Southern team in the semifinals?
Yes.
So who do you have them beating to get to the state championship? I guess who's your number 2 in not so many
For
words?
me, I go Shadow, Legacy, Faith, Palo, GV, Silverado, Sierra Vista.
Okay, interesting. So we're all over the map. Granted, you know more than me, but I think I'd go with some of my first instincts and go Palo, Faith,
Yeah.
Shadow. You sold me enough, then Legacy and
But
GV.
you played football, and you know. I know the school's a little better than you, but you know athletes a little better than me.
Yeah, but I haven't seen much of them play. I'm going a lot based on the Ray Brewer method here. Of the Palo Verde had some guys that sold me. They seem confident to me.
They passed the eye test.
Yeah, that's half the battle. Let's move into the 5A Division 3, where I believe Centennial's moving up, but they won the state championship last year in the 4A, right? And my totally uneducated just look at it and guess, I think they might be the team to beat again here.
I would wholeheartedly agree with you. They do lose a lot off that state title team, but they are eager and ready to go. A lot of contributors returning. Sione Anoke, Alexander Anoke. They had a lot of tackles. And then they got some dudes that are young and really good. Jaden Thomas, a wide receiver, sophomore, so smooth, ready to go. I look for Centennial to be the class of kind of that division. It's a cardinal sin that in 2019, when they lost to Liberty, that they were so awful that they fell all the way down to the 4A against the Sunrise Mountains of the world. But Durango won one game last year. Las Vegas, a new coaching staff. Sunrise Mountain, we love Chris Sawyers. He's back and ready to go. Clark is Clark, struggling. They're kind of landlocked over there. I mean, Centennial is, I could see them getting, calling up Jostens and saying, hey, we got to run that order back. Put back the back on the rings.
All right. Well, high praise for Centennial. Any of these other teams have any realistic shot of challenging them? I know we always praise Chris Sawyers over at Sunrise Mountain. Seems like he's got the start of something good there now that he's back in town. I know you love Las Vegas High year in and year out. I don't know, some other teams. Anyone else stand out?
CK, you haven't been on the east side in a while, but we're struggling over there.
I have not been. Okay. You're correct.
Yeah, you need to get over there for some food, maybe some tacos on Flamingo and Boulder. No salsa. If you like salsa, take
salsa's
salsa.
Just not chunky salsa.
Yeah.
I can't do the pico, but if it's ground up enough, I'm good.
But the economic disparity is really profound in sports, and we're struggling on the east side.
I love those. I do really like their new coach at Las Vegas. It was full circles. He said I think his first year he came to the media day the year I got here when it was at Las Vegas High in 2009. So that's pretty crazy. We've been doing this for that long. Whose name I don't have in front of me, but good guy. It was good to talk to him. I think he played at somewhere in the mountain, Colorado State maybe.
The new Vegas coach.
Yeah.
He played at.
I feel like he told me, but sorry. Great
Jose
podcasting here.
Centino, he played. I don't know where he played.
Okay.
Be a great guy. He's ready to go. Dio's got a new coach.
You loved those Las Vegas teams. Sorry to keep getting hung up on Las Vegas, but like 09 and stuff when I got here, you really were high
I
on
loved
them.
them.
Yeah.
I thought.
I think he was a part of those defenses.
Yes. Class 4A, CK. It's Canyon Springs, Spring Valley. No right being that low, in my opinion. El Dorado, Del Sol, Shap, Cadence, and Valley. And then the other side of the bracket, Western, Rancho, Mojave, Cimarron, the Losi Lions, that's Coach Barneson, Cimarron, and Bonanza. It's a fun little league, right?
Yeah, so that one maybe a little bit more. It seems like we were a slam dunk centennial, the last one. It seems like this one maybe you can make a few more cases for different teams.
So Losi by far is the best organized. They
Breakthrough year last year, right?
Yep, and they returned the most. They were a hop, skip, and a jump away from beating Centennial going to the state title game. And Canyon just has, superior athletes. I think they're on a collision course to play for state at Allegiant Stadium. Did you notice the Eldorado Firehawks? They're no longer the Sun
Oh, yeah,
Devils.
you told me that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't Canyon Springs at the very top level just like a couple of years ago? Speaking of
Yeah.
crazy realignment, is that just because they haven't played well?
Yeah, the way the points add up, if you have 1 year of going 0 for, the drop is very significant. I really hope that the valleys and the westerns and the ranchos of the world could have a memorable season. I didn't even mention the best team in town. I'm just gonna let them linger and pray that we get it figured out.
The Shap Cowboys.
Yeah, it's again, dude. You gotta to have a good football team. You gotta have a lot: coaching, numbers, money, and sometimes if you're missing 2 or 3 of those, it's a struggle.
Yeah, I'm looking up where some of these schools are because even though I know Coach Barnes and at Losi, you could have told me it was anywhere in the valley and I would have believed you. So I just looked that up, and I also looked up where Cadence is. Is Cadence in there in the league too?
There's multiple Cadences.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
there's a Sloan Canyon one, and I think there's one over by your house. Correct.
yeah, I don't know. I typed in Cadence Cougars, so maybe it's right. I don't know. We'll get back to you on that one. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And
then there's.
It's got to be this. Is it the Academy of Science, the Cadence campus?
Yeah,
That's in Henderson.
But I think there's 2 Cadences.
Oh, okay.
that
Well, I
play.
guess. Well, I'm pretty sure Losi only one popped up, and it said Somerset Losi, which they used to be known as, or something or other.
Yeah,
So I'm pretty sure that one's right.
Oh no, I'm sorry. There's multiple Pinecrests.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was
Okay.
thinking. Pinecrest is by where I live.
Okay.
Yeah, certainly.
But the Losi one's over by Canyon Springs.
Yeah, maybe a little
Okay.
bit further north. It looks
Yeah,
like
on Craig.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And nowhere in there's and then we go down to the 3A, which I think the top 2 teams in the 3A beat everybody in the 4A.
Wow, really? Even Losi and Canyon Springs, you say, are a cut above everyone and on a collision course?
Well, Slam is, in my opinion, and Mowapa's going to hate this, is so much better than all the teams in the 3A South.
Well, I remember last year in the few shows I did, you were you were skeptical of Slam. Seems like you come around now.
Did you see the Damian Neville kid come through?
I think I was higher on Slam last year than you, if I recall correctly.
Okay, the kid rushed for 1,800 yards. He's a senior this year. Last year, he rushed for 1,800 yards and 25 touchdowns. Slam has played in back-to-back state championship games and lost to Truckee, right?
Okay, maybe it was 2 years ago then. I just
Okay.
know 1 year you were skeptical of
That
Slam.
kid looked like he was 20 years old, and he had muscles popping out of every part of his body, and he's quick. And there's nobody in the 3A that could stop him. And I will tell you, Brett Lewis and Moapa Valley is the best coached, most organized team in the classification, even though Lake Tahoe guy is going to tell me I'm full of junk.
Virgin's usually pretty well coached. and organized
Absolutely.
as well.
Maddie does a great job. Virgin, but Brent Lewis is the GOAT. He's been doing it the longest. He's got a program. They're going to go to Hurricane. They're going to go to Utah for camp. They're going to have a 5'8", 163-pound offensive guard, and he's going to bench press a truck in the parking lot, and they're going to run the rock. But they do not have the speed to stay with this Neville kid. I will tell you the game of the year, though,
I got some off topic, but from doing this podcast over the years, I got some points for that because I can't remember who it was, but my wife was telling me someone was looking to buy a cabin or a house or something in Hurricane. I was like, no, they're not. They're looking to buy it in Hurricane because Moapa Valley plays them every year, and I know they get upset if you say Hurricane.
Yes.
Hurricane.
Yes. We got it right. September 20th, Moapa Slam.
Big game. Where is it at?
It's at Slam, which is whatever public school they could get a hold of.
That's another place I got to look up. Oh, okay. Well, where do they go to school? I know they don't have a field.
It's
I remember you
over
did a story
on Russell
about that.
On the 95.
Oh, I used to live over there.
Yeah,
Oh,
right down the road from where you used to live.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And they practice at the park there that you could see from the highway.
I remember your story about that for sure.
Yeah. So here's the deal. To me, they're 1A and 2. They're 1 and 2. Slam's 1, Moapa's 2. The winner of this game on September 20th is the 1 seed, and the loser's the 2 seed. The 2 seed's got to go up to Truckee for the semifinals.
Ooh, that's tough.
Truckee returns everybody.
How am I going to find a doctor when I'm hallucinating?
That's Max Preps.
Unsolicited ad. But okay, so is Virgin the 3 then?
Virgin would be the 3, and then
The 3A's got to be painful for you if what you're saying. So there hasn't been a Southern team to win the state title in at least 3 years, I guess.
And then you pencil in. Moapa won the first year.
Okay, so but that was 3 years ago at this point. It would have been 2021, right?
Exactly. Yeah. The good news is because of my sourcing up north, there's really not a good 2 team. So it's Truckee and Scraps. So whoever takes second their case is going to have to travel into Vegas and lose. So the winner of this game is essentially in the state championship game.
All right, that's a big one. I like a lot of the nicknames, maybe because I'm just not used to them. But on the north, you got the Green Wave, the Vaqueros, the Buckaroos, the Railroaders.
You know what Vaqueros means?
I don't, to be honest.
Spanish for cowboys.
Okay. Well, either way, I like it. I'm just surprised that you say the 3A's best teams are so much better than the 4A. Can we commission some kind of bowl game and get the 2 state championship champions to play each other? That's what I want to see now. Or do Moapa and Slam go up and play any of the Losi or Canyon Springs types team this year?
Let me see if I could pull Moapa's schedule up. I don't want to get the Max Preps advertising over here.
Yeah, we only advertise the Athletics and the Las Vegas Aviators. Thanks for presenting the podcast. There it is again. They are...
Got it down. Okay, here we go. Schedule. CK. The Pirates. Love their nickname. As I told you earlier, my Pittsburgh Pirates are killing it. Durango, week 1 at Durango. Not sure where it's going to be.
Hurricane, the usual week 2.
Durango and Moapa. It's on the picks, which we got to do before we leave.
Oh, yeah, and they're at Canyon Springs, so we will get that game. We're going to get that
question answered. Did I give you the picks?
No, you did not.
Uh-oh.
So you're going to have to lead the way with this one.
Let me see if I could pull up the end line.
They also have Cimarron in between then, who could be pretty decent on the upper level. No? Down year for them?
I'm telling you right now, you'd be hard-pressed in my humble opinion, and that's all we're doing is humble opinions here, right? Here are the games.
All right, so we'll finish your humble opinion.
Yeah.
You can't just lead us up to that and then not do it, then we'll do the picks.
I just, for me, it's a clear, it's a no-brainer, CK. 1 and 2.
Well, someone has to be a little bit, there has to be a 3 and a 4, even if there's a huge gap. Someone's got to win some other games.
So Boulder didn't come to our media day. The Prump guy never talks to us. Don't know if it's because the editorial pages at the Sun he doesn't like or whatever. Democracy didn't come to the media day. Mater's not that good. I have no idea.
Matter.
Yeah, same thing. And I have no idea.
Mojave is pretty decent. Seemed like they had some guys. They have some talent, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll say Mojave and Cimarron maybe in that 3-4. Watch out for them. All right, so we have a handful of games. It doesn't look like everyone's in action this week, guys. I guess this is next week's game. So what, like August 16th?
Correct. The opening week.
Okay.
And real quick public service announcement. Cases everybody knows covers the Raiders for us will be a partial podcast participant. So if you want to be a guest host with me, hit me up, let me know. we're looking to fill as many as we can, maybe some of our favorites from throughout the year. So if you want to be a guest host and you have 30 minutes to spare on a Monday, hit me up so you could be a guest host. Case will stand down.
You can pick the games, assuming you're not you're not on the coaching staff. We can't have that, but trust me, it's not too easy to beat Brewer on the picks. So you can come in here and put him in his place.
Yeah, I batted like 90%.
I'm joking, but all right, let's start with we started the podcast with Gorman, and it's certainly the headlining game this weekend. They are, as Brewer said, taking on Kahuku. Say that right?
Yeah,
whatever,
Hawaii. And I just, again, what I said earlier, I don't see a team traveling from Hawaii to Vegas and winning.
Yeah, Gorman is gonna get this one. It'll be a lot more interesting in 2 weeks when they're at St. Thomas Aquinas, Palo Verde, and Las Vegas High.
Not only do I think your Panthers are going to win this game, it could be by a running clock.
Might be the first time you've ever would have taken the Panthers over the Wildcats, but I guess that shows how time has changed. I agree with you. I've got Palo. This one kind of interesting, different levels, but Legacy defending state champions, as we said, taking on that new team playing on the top level, Basic.
Yeah, I'm Legacy Longhorns all the way. They just return so much. I've said Monticelli's a great young mind, and I've got the Longhorns. I'm not backing down.
All right, I thought this one might be a little closer. Who knew? But it sounds like you're not. It doesn't sound like you're so sold on that. So I guess I'll go Legacy. Mawapa Valley, who we just talked about, you might have previewed this game, but they're taking on Durango.
Yeah, nobody's driving to Overton and beating Mawapa Valley. Especially a team that won one game last year.
Yeah, Mawapa Valley at home probably should get it done. Virgin Valley and Somerset. Is it the Somerset? Is it Losi or is it different?
This is it's Somerset Losi. I don't know if they're Losi, if they're Somerset.
That's not the Somerset's out. I'm almost sure at the media day. So it's Losi.
It's Losi. I'm going to need to edit that. Okay, so here's the deal. This is a great game. This is going to be close. I'm taking Losi. You take whoever you want, but this is a really good game.
Well, I was taking Losi based on what you said. If there's a gap between them and everyone else in their league, and then Virgin Valley's not even in the conversation to be in the top two of the 3A, which I feel like they're probably going to take as a bulletin board material. You don't think they're going into the season thinking they're not on Mawapa's level or even Slams. So I think it could be close as well, but I'm going to go with Losi.
Okay, I agree with you.
Next game is Boulder City and Valley.
I got Boulder City. God bless Valley.
Yeah, you would think Boulder City has a leg up here. Short on numbers at Valley, new coach. Probably have a ways to go. Del Sol and Desert Oasis.
I got Desert Oasis. New coach for Dio. We'll see if first game mistakes get out of the way and they get the dub.
Yeah, Desert Oasis should win this game. Desert Hills, I'm assuming, out of state, coming to play Faith Lutheran, or maybe Faith Lutheran's going there.
I believe it's Desert Hills of Utah playing Faith Lutheran, and I'm taking Desert Hills.
Yeah, seems like that's tough to go out of state. I'll go Desert Hills, Foothill, and Slam.
Game of the week.
Game of the week. Wow. Yeah.
I mean,
makes sense.
Foothill with a lot of new pieces, but a 5A school. Love Coach Vernon Brown. I love Eugene Antabella, the wide receiver over there. And Slam's just got one player who's really, really good. And I have for years told you best player on the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like that theory?
Not as much.
Have you come around at least?
Not as much in football as like basketball. I mean, because let's take I don't know. Let's get the one best player to play against Gorman, and Gorman's still winning.
Correct.
So that's why I think it's a little flawed. But who are you going with?
I'm going with Slam.
Oh, wow.
My Slam.
Okay, so you are sticking to the best player on the field theory.
Yeah.
I just got to think there's going to be like a numbers differential here. Football's got to have a lot more guys, right?
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. Nicholas is going to the Hill next year.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
The Hill or maybe the G. We'll figure it out. Do I not pick those games if he's going there?
I think you're fun. Unless he play. Maybe if he plays.
He might be playing.
Oh, well, yeah. Well,
Ninth grade team.
Yeah.
I told him he needs to go get tackled so he could get that PE credit.
Oh, yeah?
Potentially go take some of those JC classes while in high school so we could save college tuition money.
All right, well, there you go. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I am actually going, maybe you're just trying to be unbiased, because I'm going with the future potential high school of Nicholas Brewer. I'm going to take Foothill here.
Okay.
I feel like defensive, I mean, they put up so many points last year. Is Slam ready for them? Defensively, I know they got one great player, but...
You might be on the over, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it'll be high scoring. Foothill wins. Matter East is taking on the Meadows.
I just put that there. I don't think I'm going to do that in the picks, but that's the score bug that I'm going to run.
Okay.
We'll pass.
So
we'll pass on the rest of the games, but we'll do Canyon Springs opening at Carson City.
At Carson City. I don't have a scouting report for Carson City, so I guess I'll go Canyon Springs.
I'll go Carson City.
Okay. Wow. Canyon Springs, how the mighty have fallen. There was like some years where they're like number 5 coming into the year.
It's a tough road trip.
Yeah, it is a tough road trip for sure, but it's probably nicer than when it's. You'd rather do it now than when it's snowing.
Yeah. Do you know the nickname of Carson City?
I don't. Do we have it in front of me?
The Senators.
I like it. I like it.
Yes.
The Carson Senators. There you
Yes.
go. All right. Well, once again, this has been Prep Sports Now, presented by the Athletics and the Las Vegas Aviators. If you want to guest host with Ray Brewer on an upcoming episode, make sure you hit him up through whatever means necessary. Any parting thoughts before we get out of here?
I just hope that everybody. Well, first of all, thank you for asking me, because I want to thank everybody for their support of our show and our website and our newspaper. And I want to thank, and I want everybody to know that we're rooting for them to have a fun season.
Yeah, for sure. I hope everyone has a good time, stays healthy, and puts on some good football games. Pleasure to be coming to you again. For Ray, I'm Case. Thanks for listening to Prep Sports Now.